In our politics lead today, campaigning for Pennsylvania governor yesterday, Republican nominee Doug Mastriano, a full-throated spreader of Donald Trump's election lies, attacked his rival, Democratic Attorney General Josh Shapiro, because of Shapiro's background.
He grew up in a privileged neighborhood, attended one of the most privileged schools in the nation as a young man, not college, I'm talking about as a kid, sending his 4 kids to the same privileged, exclusive elite school. We talk about him having disdain for people like us.
I happen to know a little bit about the privileged school that Mr. Mastriano is attacking because I went there too. I was 4 years ahead of Attorney General Josh Shapiro. It was then called Akiba Hebrew Academy. It's a private Jewish parochial school. And I suppose in that sense it is privileged, but I do not know many people who would describe it the way that Mr. Mastriano did. More than 60% of the student body is currently on some form of tuition assistance, the school tells me, which was my experience back when I went there in the 1980s. A lot of kids got financial aid, including a lot of kids who, with their parents, had escaped anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union and were trying to build better lives for themselves in the Philadelphia area. I don't think I've ever heard Mr. Mastriano describe any other Pennsylvania parochial schools in that way. Elite, exclusive, privileged, full of disdain for fellow Americans. Philadelphia has a ton of fancy prep schools, but Akiba Hebrew Academy was not one of them. The Catholic school down the street seemed more similar to our school. The kids of people, some of them wealthy, some middle class, some more humble, many of them from families where both parents worked, from all over the area, New Jersey, Delaware, Philly, Pennsylvania, wanting their kids to get an education that included faith and ethics and morals. Is that bad? Or is it only bad when those parochial schools aren't Christian? We reached out and asked to speak to Mr. Mastriano today on our show. We did not get a response. I have questions for him, though, about his attack on this Jewish school, because Mr. Mastriano also has close ties with Gab, the far-right social media platform where Nazi venom is regularly spewed. Gab, you might recall, is where the Tree of Life synagogue mass murderer was sharing his plans and his sick bigotry right before he carried out the deadliest act of anti-Semitic violence in the history of the United States, right on the other side of Pennsylvania. Mastriano has close ties with openly, proudly anti-Semitic Gab founder Andrew Torba, who was paid for consulting services by the Mastriano campaign. Torba regularly attacks Jews. He calls Josh Shapiro the Antichrist. We should note that after some Jewish Republicans a few months ago criticized Mastriano for this relationship, Mastriano issued a rather rote paper statement criticizing anti-Semitism in all its forms. And then yesterday he attacked Josh Shapiro's Jewish school and his kids' Jewish school. I should also note that contrary to what Mr. Mastriano suggested, the Jewish values taught there did not teach disdain. In my experience, they taught community and charity and respect for all faiths and nationalities, races, creeds, and colors, love of the United States, love for our fellow Americans. So I'm not sure what Mr. Mastriano means when he refers to people like Josh Shapiro having disdain for people like us. The only disdain I ever felt there was for anti-Semites. CNN's Jeff Zeleny joins us now live. Jeff, Doug Mastriano's relationship with Gab's founder plays into larger concerns of anti-Semitism in this race. Tell us about that.
Look, Jake, the Pennsylvania governor's race is very important to the Republican Governors Association and Republicans writ large. That is why they have been worried about Doug Mastriano. That is why many of the establishment Republican leaders here in Washington and beyond did not support him in the primary. But look, he is the nominee. But yes, there have been concerns hanging over this race, as you said, for the last several months about his association with anti-Semitic groups. No question about it. The Republican Jewish Coalition, a very prominent organization here in Washington with donors across the country, was very explicit about this earlier this summer, calling out Doug Mastriano to say more about his ties to anti-Semitism And Doug Mastriano did put out a statement at that time. But look, this is still hanging over this race without question. Now there is a new ad that's been introduced in this campaign by Josh Shapiro, of course, the Democratic Attorney General running for governor. He is pointing out that Doug Mastriano once was pictured in a Confederate Army uniform when he was an instructor at the Army War College. I think we have a picture of that here that we can show. And he was the only one on the faculty here that decided to use the Confederate uniform here in his picture. So that has been now turned into a digital ad. So yes, this is all hanging over the race here. And it's a race that at this point, Josh Shapiro is leading. A new CBS News poll shows that he is leading Mastriano by 55 to 44% there. So 8 weeks before the election, this is the state of the gubernatorial campaign, at least in Pennsylvania, Jake.
Yeah, in addition to being losers and traitors, we should note that the Confederates, Pennsylvania was not on the side of the Confederates. So we were on the winning side. Democrat John Fetterman, the lieutenant governor, he's finally agreed to a debate following a wave of criticism and, of course, his stroke. What do we know about that?
Look, he has agreed to a debate that's scheduled now tentatively for October 25th, 2 weeks before the election, and he's asked for closed captioning to be used at the debate. Why? He still is having auditory issues, his campaign says, having a hard time hearing and processing some things because of that stroke he had several months ago. So the Oz campaign, Mehmet Oz campaign, has agreed to the closed captioning as long as the moderator announces and explains it to the audience in advance. We'll see if this debate actually happens. As in many states across the country, there's been a debate over debates, but here in Pennsylvania it's been different because it's speaking to Fetterman's health issues. But as of now, at least, there should be one debate just shortly before the election. Of course, by then many early voting periods already underway.